After just 3 games, it's clear that the Colorado Buffaloes have some major issues. Let's talk about them.
You are Locked On Buffs, your daily podcast on the Colorado Buffaloes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Buffs. I'm your host, Kevin Borba. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. We're also brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day for free and available wherever you get your podcast. So make sure to like, subscribe, follow, become a Locked On Buffs insider so you could see a film breakdown for myself and Jordan Domineck. Jordan Domineck, former Colorado Buffalo, former Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket. Your Yellow Jackets are staying hot. Your Buffs are not. And we're going to talk about the issues that Colorado's having, the quarterback situation and how it's being managed, and what this Wyoming game means to the Buffs. But let's start with the major issues at hand. For starters, you're a defensive guy, and I think Colorado's defense last year was really good in pretty much every aspect of the game. They did get out-physicaled a couple of times, but this year, they don't look physical enough to me, Jordan. They're missing 10 tackles per game, and Houston ran all over them, right? Connor Wegman he's a decent quarterback. I feel like they made him look like a Heisman contender. So when you watch this Colorado defense, what are you seeing?
So with Colorado, I see a lot of things, honestly. And the main thing is I want to start off with the good. They've shown that they can play physical. They've shown that they can, take it to them when they need to. They've shown that they can get TFLs. They can get after the quarterback. They've shown that they can keep the running backs corralled. Honestly, they look like a really good defense at times. And then there are times where they just look like, hey, I don't know what's going on with us. The tackling is definitely needs a lot of improvement, especially on the back end, on the plays where it's an open field. And just watching that defensive line, it's interesting to me because it's like on some plays, they'll just be the absolute dogs, like absolute best D-line I've ever seen. And then on other plays, it'll be like they're busting their assignments on like just small stuff. And it's not even too crazy, but it's enough that in an edge against like a good running back or against a good quarterback, they can make you pay. And they've just been paying. But the defense, honestly, I'm not going to take it from them. They were not as bad as a lot of people say during this game against Houston. The defense actually looked really good in that first half, only allowing 1 touchdown and then allowing 3 field goals. The field goals all came from, what was it, I believe, within 60 yards, I think the drive
They were
was.
bending,
Like,
not breaking, right? That they kept saying it on the game, on the broadcast. Yeah, I would agree with
so
that.
that's definitely something that we can commend for them. And then we could talk about it. The beginning of the second half,
Yeah.
Houston came out and they had a 8.5 minute drive that lasted most of the third quarter, and the defense was on the field a lot of the time. And then Colorado ends up having a little 3-and-out and giving the defense right back on the field. And there's only so much a defense can do when you're on the field 60-70% of the time, 80% of the time. Like, you don't want your defense out there as much. You want your offense to be out there to waste some clock and put some points on the board. I've definitely been in that situation where the defense is on the field a lot, and as good as a defense can be, that fatigue is going to sit in at some point in the game, especially if you're just sitting down and all of a sudden you hear, hey, punt team, punt team, punt team. That's definitely not what a defensive lineman wants to hear, for sure. When you're
I
sitting down.
bet. Because you guys get tired, and I understand that, and especially the offense, like Houston, they were kind of clicking the entire game, and eventually, I think Colorado's defense just wore out, and I think that's sort of been the story of the season, right? It happened against Georgia Tech, where it was like they forced 3 turnovers on Georgia Tech's first 3 possessions, and the Colorado offense got them 7 points, right? Colorado's defense this past week, they hold Georgia Tech multiple times to a couple field goals and a touchdown they started off in their side of the field anyway, but they kept it close, and the Colorado offense is continually faltering. And so I'm looking at Pat Sherman, the offense coordinator, and I have this question for you, Jordan. I know someone who's on the team, it's a little more personable, right? Like you guys get attached to these coaches. It's a lot easier to be on the outside looking in, being like, hey, fire this guy, do this, do that. But in the 3 games you've seen, do you think that this offensive play calling, is a problem? Or is it simply this team in general is not as good as we thought?
I would say that the team hasn't been put in the best position play calling wise.
Okay.
I feel like Colorado has been shying away from the run game when they have multiple running backs and a great offensive line that shows that they can run block. Simeon Price, he showed his colors this past game. I think you told me that they only had what 12 runs this game,
12
and
runs between 3 running backs, and he had 5 carries.
And he had 5 carries, and he averaged 10 yards a carry,
Mhm.
which is interesting to me because I honestly feel like Colorado has a good run game, and they need to start using that now. If they don't
Mhm.
start using it, then the passing game won't open up. If you're trying to pass 90% of the time, 95% of the time in a game, a defense is going to be able to, you're taking away basically half of your playbook.
Yeah.
You're taking away a lot of your playbook without being able to run the ball. So a defensive coordinator will see that and just start dropping his guys, stop making it a little bit easy. Might have a drop eight, might blitz on a regular, knowing that you guys are going to go 5 wide, 4 wide with maybe one running back inside. There's a lot that you have to do with that running back, and then the run calls that they have had. I've seen some success, some failure, depending on a lot. Because the first play of the game was a run play, and it ended up with a TFL to Houston. And from what I saw from that game, I feel like that was just a busted assignment on the line because I believe that if he had actually gotten the ball in the handoff and that I believe it was a 4 eye or a four technique that was sitting, that was able to basically rip under the offensive lineman
Mhm.
and make that TFL in the backfield. I feel like if they had just gotten one hand on the guy, Simeon would have made it 5, 6 yard gain
Mhm.
based on the way that everybody else was blocking. I feel like the offense really does have a good running game that they choose not to explore. And without exploring that running game, it basically closes down their passing options because, hey, now we know it's going to be a pass every play. They might try to run the ball, what, once every other drive?
Mhm.
If as a defensive lineman, I'm pinning my ears back and going because I know, hey, if they're not going to run the ball, I can just go after the quarterback. And there's no need to think about, oh, is it going to be a run? Is it going to be a pass? They know exactly what it is and they can anticipate it as a defense.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you say that they started off the game with a loss because to me, and I think this is sort of like a theme for Colorado when it comes to running the ball. It's like they try it one time, get tackled for a loss, or they don't get a big play, and then it's like, okay, we got to throw the ball 13 straight times now. And it's like
Yeah.
they are so, I guess, unwilling to commit to the run, which is ironic to me because the entire offseason they were just gassing up how much they were going to run the ball. They were going to be physical. They were going to do this. They were going to do that. They were going to have Derrick Henry back there. They're going to have Bo Jackson back there. And all of a sudden, it's like, okay, we ran the ball a couple times. We tried it. Now we're shying away from the run. And they did that with Shedeur last year. They did that with Travis Hunter. And there's a big difference is you don't have 4 NFL wide receivers and the NFL quarterback, right? Like they don't
Yeah.
have the talent that they did last year. And that's okay because, I mean, not many teams did. But I think it's sort of weighing on the offense as a whole. I think the offense is starting to lose confidence, and I think a new play caller to circle back to that could possibly reinvigorate this offense in a way, right? And I know you've experienced it before, where sometimes a coaching change is it's like players don't always want it, but at the same time, if they pick the right person to call plays or do whatever, talk about how that could like rejuvenate an offense or rejuvenate a unit if they believe in that guy.
So honestly, if you were to get a new offensive coordinator, I would feel like it'd have to be somebody that can come in and resonate with the team instantly.
Right, someone on staff, so
And
Brent Bartolone or someone, yeah, like that.
And honestly, I feel like if Coach Prime were to go looking for offensive coordinator, he would look in house, so
Mhm,
somebody that already has the connection with the players. So
yeah,
it wouldn't be too much of he's a new guy. How do I know I can do it? And he doesn't have to go through the entire evaluation of who we have on the team, who not, to put in a whole new playbook.
mhm,
I feel like he's gonna find somebody that's within the organization. If he were to go with this route, he would find somebody within the organization or somebody that he's worked with before that he has seen success from their offense, and he would use them uh, just to create like a co-offensive coordinator
mhm,
and basically have two people calling the plays, so to speak.
right,
But I feel like it would give the playbook a little bit more diversity and a little bit more confidence, maybe in the run game. And as a player, you have to adjust with whatever happens. So if you get a new coach, hey, I got a new coach. If I don't, hey, I got to do whatever it is to the best of my ability. Whatever the coach calls, I have to do. But
mhm,
I do feel like they definitely need a change and possibly bringing in a co-offensive coordinator to help get the run game going. that would definitely be an improvement, or something that Coach Prime would benefit from, and the
And
Colorado
let me
Buffs.
ask, because your year at Colorado, Sean Lewis was the offensive coordinator for majority of the year, right? And Sean
Hmm.
Lewis, for those of you that don't remember, he was like the hottest name in college football. Like he was a head coach already. Coach Prime brought him in, and that was like viewed as a tremendous hire. And when you guys were clicking, you guys were clicking.
Yeah.
But then when Coach Prime demoted Sean Lewis, Coach Lewis, for Pat Shurmur, it kind of changed the offense a little bit. Talk to me about what the locker room felt when that happened. Like, you don't have to, like, I guess, talk about the decision between Lewis and Shurmur, but talk to me about what it's like to see a coach get demoted. Like, could you see that happening again?
I could see that happening again. Basically, the goal of any football program is to win games, and if your coaches can't do that, then something is going to change. Either your offensive coordinator is going to change, or you keep going with that offensive coordinator. And if no success comes along, then hey, your whole staff is going to change, because they're going to kick you and everybody else out. They're
Mhm.
looking for people that can win, and they want to win now. So back during my time when we did have uh, Pat Shurmur end up not end
Coach
up
Lewis.
being demoted. Yeah, he ended up
Yeah.
being demoted. It was interesting because as a defensive player, you don't really, notice too much on the offensive side of the ball. Like if you were to get a new defensive coach, you would
Mhm.
think it, but it was I'll give it was a little tense in the locker room just
Mm.
because nobody really knew where they stood,
Okay.
and essence of like, okay, what are the new play calls going to be? Are we going to have to learn a whole new playbook? Like this is the middle of the season and this is happening. Like what's going to change? What's going to know? And I say it was tense. It wasn't tense as in like everybody's nervous. It was tense as in, okay, there's a change coming, and now we need to figure out how we're going to adjust to this new change, because hey, we are getting a new offensive coordinator, and we're going to have to learn new plays, and they're going to have to
Mhm.
pick them up on the fly because this offensive coordinator is coming on Monday and we play on Saturday. So it's got to be a quick little, so it's
Right.
just one of those things where it's like you have to adjust. Is not going to be too crazy of an adjustment, but you're still going to have to adjust in some way, shape, or form. And at the end of the day, I still feel like the offense was confident in the co-coordinator situation. They were
Mhm.
confident. They were confident with the one coordinator. I feel like they were confident with two, and that was honestly because they had a great quarterback. We had a great quarterback in the Shedeur,
Yeah.
and using Shedeur, that actually he brought the whole team together. Honestly, like we felt confident within the quarterback play of Shador that he could adjust to any situation, and
Mhm.
he was one of those people that he was a leader. He could talk to his players, and they ended up uh, resonating with him. They ended
Mhm.
up being in the same boat as him, and they had confidence in themselves because Shador had confidence in himself. And having three or four, NFL worthy wide receivers did help a lot in that
Yeah,
conference
I
era
bet.
as well.
I bet. I bet.
So,
It was just a matter of putting them in the right position, and I think that's where Colorado isn't right now. Like, I don't think
yeah,
guys are in the right position. They talk about getting to Kalen Taylor, one of your favorite guys, the fast little running back. They talk about getting him the ball, and he had 5 touches last game, right? They keep talking about things, and it's like when you're in a relationship and you keep telling someone, "Yeah, I'm gonna fix this," or "I'm gonna fix that," and it's like, okay, but you're not, right? So
mhm,
it feels like that's where Colorado is. So we'll see how that changes as the week goes on. We talked a little bit about the quarterback situation. Let's dive into that fully, but first, a quick break. This episode of Locked on Buffs is brought to you by our sponsors over at Prize Picks, the daily fantasy app where making the right call can actually pay off. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right means cashing in. With football back, Prize Picks is the simplest and fastest way to get in on the action. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player projections, and you could turn your takes into real prizes all in less than 60 seconds. So, download the Prize Picks app today and use code Locked On College to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's Locked On College for $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Welcome back to Locked On Buffs. Appreciate you guys for tuning in every single day, making me your first listen of the day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow, become a Locked On Buffs insider, where myself and Jordan Domineck over here, former Colorado, Georgia Tech, Arkansas stud, we do film breakdowns. We talk about everything that's going right, everything that's going wrong, and I'm excited for this Houston breakdown, and I know Jordan is too. But Jordan, I want to talk about the quarterback room. And we disagree about this, so I'll give my take, you give your take, and we'll see where we end up. But Colorado's quarterback situation is obviously not Shedeur Sanders. I think we could agree on that, right? They don't have a certified NFL quarterback. And while I agree with going to Ryan Staub after Delaware, I don't agree that they should have mixed things up against Delaware. I think they were just taking advantage of the fact that they knew they were going to win and sort of made things all complicated. And now after Houston, where Ryan Staub struggles, I feel like there's division where it's like a lot of people think they should go back to Salter. I'm included because I don't think they ever should have went away from him. But I just feel like they created a quarterback problem when they really didn't have to. And I think had they stuck with Salter for at least 3 weeks, they could have come to this conclusion regardless, and it would have been a little bit different. But now it feels like we're flip-flopping. What do you make of the quarterback situation?
So I see where you're coming from with wanting Salter back. Honestly, I feel like they ride out Staubby. I like
Mhm,
Staub. I like Ryan. I like the way that the offense is able to flow with Staub whenever he's in the game.
mhm,
And Staub honestly showed me a lot of things that a lot of quarterbacks didn't. Salter, great quarterback, but during Georgia Tech, I saw him struggle as well. And against Delaware, they ended up wanting to, revamp their quarterback situation because obviously they saw something that they didn't like or something that they did like from somebody in the room.
mhm,
And having the ability and the chance to actually go out against Delaware and see which quarterback is going to do the best against this kind of team will
mhm,
honestly help you put yourself in like the best light of like, okay, who's going to be our quarterback? Who does the offense move the best with? Who is actually able to, get the ball down the field? Who is actually able to lead this offense? And I feel like the best option right now is Ryan Staub. He's been in the program for 3 years. He's been a true blue Colorado Buff the entire time. He learned from Shedeur. He was there during the Shedeur era, so he definitely knows a few things. And against Delaware, I want to go back. He did, show his quarterback expertise by hot routing a couple players and ending up with touchdowns and making plays happen. And then against Houston this week, I feel like he didn't play bad at all. Yes, at the end it did start to, his play did start to decline, but in the first half, and I believe honestly through a lot of the third quarter, even though they did start off with a 3 and out, he was still
mhm,
making plays. He was making plays happen with his feet. He was making plays happen throwing the ball. He made a few amazing plays, honestly. The little shuffle pass to Omarion.
mhm.
They had Simeon Price running the ball. I felt like the offense was just complete with Staub in the game. And I don't feel like any quarterback Colorado has right now will give us that complete and efficient feel that Staub does. Not saying that Salter can't make plays. I feel like Salter is going to be a good quarterback, and he could go into the Colorado team. And I feel like he has had a chance to show what he can do, and he just nothing against him, but he wasn't as impressive as Staub.
Mhm.
And I understand where you want to see him back in the game. Salter did come from a good program, and he's not bad at all. He's made some plays, but at this point in the season, you have to go with who you feel is the best option when it comes to not only just winning the game, but also
Mhm.
what team can move the offense efficiently.
Okay, and let me ask
And
you another question here. I'm gonna cut you off real quick. So
okay,
we saw Georgia Tech just beat Clemson. Shout out to the Yellow Jackets, right? Colorado, I think, had the Yellow Jackets on the ropes with Salter. And so my question is to you: do you feel like Salter really got a fair shake? Like that Georgia Tech team is obviously really good. Like we know this now.
hmm
They're 3-0. I think they're jumped up to 18th in the
number
country.
18, yes, sir.
Yeah, so they're good, and he had them within it. Now there was moments where he would have liked to have certain plays back against Georgia Tech, and I'm not denying that. But do you feel like basically one game and 2 drives was enough to be like, hey, sorry, dude, like next time, right? Because I think with the Wyoming game, we're going to talk about this in a little bit. How much are we going to learn about whoever's at quarterback, right? Colorado is they're favored by, I think, 12 and a half, I think is the line for this Colorado game. So how much are we going to learn about them going up against a Mountain West program? So like, do you feel like he got a fair shake? Sorry.
No,
to
you're
really
good.
argue.
I feel like he did get a fair shake, and I
Okay.
feel like the quarterback situation has been handled to the best of the coach's abilities.
Okay.
But with this game coming up in Wyoming, I feel like this is going to be the true game to determine, hey, who are we going to go with as quarterback for the rest of the season?
Yeah.
And what I feel like what these coaches are going to want to do is jump off on an early lead. See, I feel like they're going to start Staub. They're going to
Mhm.
start Ryan. See if Ryan can give us an early lead. And if he can't, they'll probably sub in Salter. And they'll see, hey, if you're put in this situation, will you be able to make something happen? And I feel like if they're going to pull Staub, they're going to pull Staub quick. So if they go down 7, or if they get 2, 3 and outs or something like that, they're going to pull Staub quick. And they're going to want to see Salter back in the game.
Yeah.
But I do know that I have faith in Staub, but I do feel like the quarterback situation has not been handled. It's been handled to the best of the ability, but I feel like it's not, it hasn't been shown which quarterback is really the best fit for Colorado. I
I,
believe
I
it's Staub. You
I don't
believe
think they
it's
have a clear
Salter.
plan. And I
Yeah.
believe in, I think both of them have good moments, right? I don't think the plan has ever been clear, right? I think they got a little nervous after week 1, and the Delaware thing, it was weird to me because I don't really like making a huge judgment based off of one game,
Hmm.
especially against the team that's playing their first FBS game ever. But that being said, Staub was the guy. Like, he played the best. It was hard to deny. So it's like you forced yourself to make this weird quarterback competition when in reality, I think in my eyes, the ideal way to handle it would have been like Salter against Georgia Tech, Salter
Hmm.
against Delaware. I assume he would have played well. Like, if Salter, say after the first half, Salter's like doing terrible, then yeah, then you bench him. Then you start experimenting. But I think going in with the predetermined idea sort of set themselves up for a whole situation. And I think Colorado has a lot of problems this year. We talked about defense, we talked about play calling. I
Hmm.
think quarterback being unsolved or unsolidified, even though Deion Sanders doesn't want to talk about that, I think it is a problem, and they've made it a problem when it didn't really need to be. Would you agree with that?
I I agree with that. I'll
Okay,
agree with that.
because it just feels like there's a lot going on right now, and we're 3 games into the season, about to be 4, and it's like I feel like there's too much going on, too many moving pieces. It's like when you're at like a family event and you got 3 people trying to talk to you about what you're up to in life. And it's like, everyone back up. Give me a second, right? I'll tell you all. I just need everyone to give me a second to breathe here. Let me get my mashed potatoes. Let me get my bread, right? Like, there's too much going on. And so,
And that's why I
I,
say this Wyoming game is definitely going to give us a show because
yeah.
it'll allow Staub to show, hey, am I the guy starting off? And if he doesn't go out there and perform, I feel like they're going to pull him quick and throw Salter in there and give him another chance. And I feel like whoever truly performs best in this next upcoming game is going to be their starting quarterback for the rest of the season.
And I think we agree on that. Like, this, whoever it is, has to be the starting quarterback, barring injury or like assuming like the next 2 games, the guy's like not pulling DJ Lagway and throwing 5 picks in the game, right? Like,
Yeah.
assuming nothing catastrophic happens, whoever they deem to be the starter after this Wyoming game should be the starter moving forward. I don't think they want to keep doing this dance all season long, because we all know what they say about if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none. So we're going to take another quick break, and we're going to talk about the importance of this Wyoming game when we come back. This episode of Locked on Buffs, it's brought to you by our sponsors over at Game Time. College football is back, and I couldn't be more excited. There's tailgates, the rivalries, the energy is in the stands. There's nothing like it. Let's be real, though. Actually getting the tickets to experience all that, that could feel like more of a battle than the game itself. There's endless queues, hidden fees, prices jumping at checkout. That's why I use Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to fans. It's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices with no surprise fees. What you see is what you pay. My favorite part about Game Time is the zone deals. You pick the section and Game Time picks a seat and you save big. So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. $20 off. Excuse me. Swipe, tap, ticket. Go download Game Time today. Welcome back to Locked on Buffs. It's me, Kevin Borba, and Jordan Domineck. Jordan, let's just dive right into it. I liked what we talked about this segment before, where it's like, hey, figure out your quarterback situation. That's great and all. But what is this? What is this Wyoming game like? What is the importance of this, right? Because they go to Big 12 play right after that, and I would say I personally thought the month of October would be their most difficult slate. So having this many issues before October is a little concerning. So
Mhm.
what does this Wyoming game mean for Colorado?
So this Miami game means a lot. I feel like it's going to be really three main things for Colorado
Yeah.
that the Wyoming game is going to show. Number one is going to show who their starting quarterback is going to be, and we just
Okay.
explained that with Salter and Staub both trying to vie for that position. I feel like right now is going to determine which which quarterback is going to be the one that takes them to the rest of the year. I feel
Mhm.
like whoever can truly get the offense the most efficiently moving, as
Mhm.
well as I feel like whoever can, just bring the most success to the team is going to be the one that uh, Colorado decides to go with. It's also going to help determine whether or not we were talking about this. They're going to need a co-offensive coordinator or not. Like
Yeah.
you said, they have been bland a little bit in their play calling because every play basically is a pass play, aside from like 12 a game, 10 a game, running the ball.
Mhm.
I feel like they definitely need to open up their playbook and start using more runs in this game, and it's going to be a way for Colorado's offense to truly find the identity that they want for the
Mhm.
rest of the year. On the defensive side of the ball, I feel like this defense is really going to have to step up and show that they can tackle both in the back end and in the front end. They've shown that they can be physical, and they've shown that they can make plays when it counts. But the main thing is also they're going to have to be able to get off the field, whether it's Big 12 or whether it's the MAC, or depending on, it doesn't even matter what division they're playing. They have
Mhm.
to be able to stop the ball. They need to be able to get three and outs. They need to get the ball back to their offense. And whether or not the offense is able to make something happen with that,
Yeah.
that's not on them. At the end of the day, they can't be on the field 60, 70, 75% of the time. They have
Right.
to get the ball back to their offense, and the offense is going to have to drive the ball. They're going to have to give their defense a little bit of time because,
Mhm.
as we saw in the Houston game, I feel like that wasn't a bad defensive game. I feel like that was a fatigued defense.
Okay.
Once they
That's
were
fair.
at, to the point where the third quarter, you're going for 9+ minutes to sit down for 30 seconds on a three and out, and then you're right back up on the field again. That's
Yeah.
going to hurt any defense, no matter who
Right.
it is. They don't get any kind of break. And at that point, it's like, I'm not making excuses for the defense, but they're not put in the most prime position, you know?
Mhm. Right, and
So,
that's a great point because if you even look at that whole quarter in general, the third quarter there was 3 possessions. It was Houston for 8:35, Colorado for 50, counting the punt, and then Houston again for 4:14. So Houston had the ball for 12 minutes, right? The quarters are 15, right? Basically
exactly.
13 minutes, right? So you cannot just leave your defense out to dry. I think for me, this Wyoming game, I think they have to figure out the quarterback situation because after this, the schedule gets. I mean, this next slate is honestly scary. If you're Colorado to have this many problems in front of this slate, they go against BYU, at TCU, against Iowa State, and against Utah. I expect all 4 of those teams to be ranked by the time Colorado plays them. So you
Hmm.
basically have 4 ranked opponents coming up, or at least we'll call it 3. And if you're still experimenting, you're still looking for an identity, let me tell you, it's not going to be great, right?
That's not gonna be the best place to try and find it. So
Yeah,
this game, like you said, is gonna be the game that Colorado has to find their identity. They have to find
yeah,
their quarterback. They have to find their offensive coordinator. They need to find what kind of plays they want to run. They need to find who they are.
yeah.
And if they're not able to do that, then it's just gonna be a long, long October for the Colorado Buffaloes.
Yeah, and you touched on it a little bit right there, but I want to dive before we go. Finding the identity. What does that mean? Like, what is it? We always talk about in the media. Everyone's like, "Hey, just find your identity, and we'll be good," right? Like, just do that. Like, what does that mean to you guys? Though, I was like, as players, like, what are you looking for?
So for me as a player, I wanted to be known for my play on the field. That
Okay.
was my identity. My identity was I was somebody that's always going to be smiling, and I'm always going to be hunting. That
Hmm.
was everything I wanted to do. I
Yeah.
wanted to get TFLs. I wanted to get sacks. I wanted to be that player that in big time moments, I'm going to be the person to go out there and make a big time play. That was always what I wanted. And the identity of Colorado should be that. Each and every person should have that feeling of I want to be the player in that moment to make the big time play. And the only way you can make big time plays is if you make the small time plays. If you can stop the running back. If you're an edge rusher and you're able to turn the running back inside, that's a big time play. Because hey, he's not bouncing outside for an extra 6 or 7 yards. You're stopping him at the line of scrimmage for 1 or 2. Hey, I'm a D tackle in the middle. I'm a nose guard. Can I hold this G? Can I hold this gap? Can I stop the running back from getting up the field?
Mm,
That's the kind of play that they need. They need to find their identity. What kind of player are they? What kind of team are they? Are they a physical act instead of react team? Are they somebody that's going to go and hit you in the face, and no matter what happens, if they get hit back, they're going to keep hitting you and keep hitting you and keep hitting you?
mm,
That's the kind of identity that you want from a team. You don't want a team of, oh, I'm here for my stats and he's here for his stats and he's here for this and that and the third. No, you want to have a cohesive unit. That's the main identity that you want as a player, as a team, as a coach, as anybody, honestly. As a fan, you want a cohesive unit. You
yeah.
know, every defense, every best defense that has come through college, you honestly would almost never hear them talk about, oh, this is what I did, this is what I did, this is what I did. It was always, this is what we did as a team. The team was great. You could talk about, and I know it's not many people are going to talk about it, not many people are going to, agree, but I feel like the best defense for sure of all time was the Miami Hurricanes.
Mm,
And you know which Miami Hurricanes team I'm talking about.
yep.
And I feel like going back and just listening to the way that they talk about that team,
Mm,
you almost never hear the interviewee speaking on themselves first. They're always speaking about somebody else or the entire defense in general when they speak about that team.
yeah.
And that just speaks of volumes to me because it's like they were an unselfish amount of athletes, but they also knew that in those plays that I'm gonna make that play. And they had
Yeah.
that mentality and that mindset going forward every time. And that's
Mm,
the mentality that all of Colorado has to adopt. They have to
yeah.
be, I'm gonna be this player that's gonna make this happen no matter what. Coach
Yeah.
Prime, he's said it before, he said it again. I'm looking for dogs and leaders. And right now we're not seeing too many dogs and we need to see a lot more.
I mean, that's the perfect way to end it right there. We need more dogs and leaders. Right now, Colorado, I think they have pups and followers, is what it looks like right
Mhm.
now. So they need to sort of figure it out. This Wyoming game is a perfect place to do it. Otherwise, it's going to be a really long season. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in. We both appreciate you guys for joining our Locked On Buffs Insider program. You can text us with one-on-one questions. We're going to be doing a film breakdown that we'll be releasing tomorrow. It'll be really fun, really cool. So appreciate all you guys for tuning in. I'm Kevin Borba. He's Jordan Domineck, and I will see you guys tomorrow.